Today, I want to talk about what it's like when you get into a serious relationship after divorce, and especially after divorce that included infidelity. What is that like? And can you do it? Is it possible to trust again? Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you that answer. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But in order to trust again, because it's really, really hard, right? In order to trust again, you have to first trust yourself. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show, Revive with Janna. Thank you for taking time out of your day to tune in to me. So last week's episode talked about rebuilding your life after divorce and what it looks like to heal after infidelity. So today I want to talk about what it's like when you get into a serious relationship after divorce, especially after divorce that included infidelity. What is that like? And can you do it? Is it possible to trust again? Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you that answer. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But in order to trust again, because it's really, really hard, right? In order to trust again, you have to first trust yourself. Now, that might sound, kind of like obvious, but it's really not. And when I say that, what I mean is that I was in a almost 15-year marriage, and the ultimate betrayal happened. The infidelity, and he was a narcissist. So I also endured narcissistic abuse, and that's a lot to deal with, right? And just earth-shattering heartbreak. And after going through that and being put through the ringer, I remember telling my friends, I don't want to be with a man or near one for like 10 years. And I was serious. I was like, I had found my happiness. I had created my own happiness. I had finally, for the first time ever, loved and accepted and approved of myself and had my own confidence. And when I had those things, that's when I was able to see, wow, I was attaching it the whole time. And I just realized I didn't need anyone else to give that to me. I didn't need an external provider for happiness, for love, for acceptance. And when you've been lied to, when you confront someone who you're pretty sure that they're not being faithful, and they lied to you, and it happens over and over again, it is very hard to trust again. And I share that with you because I want you to understand how broken my heart was, how hard it was for me to trust. But I do know this. I do know that, first of all, the universe has a real funny way of bringing you your forever partner. And I was definitely not expecting it, especially as soon as it was after my divorce. I really, really was looking forward to and wanted to have just my alone time, adjust to my new life, adjust to just having my kids half the time. And, he came out of nowhere. He was a client. I was his nutritionist. And, he lived out of town, he lived out of state. And so we met because of some close friends that we each knew, but we had just never met each other because he didn't live where I lived. Anyways, because I believe of those close friendships that were mutual, it was easier for me to trust in a sense. At least trust that, like, hey, he's not a total, piece of shit. But honestly, we just became really, really, really good friends. And I never wanted anything different. I was just content for the first time ever and comfortable with my life. And that is the place that you want to be in before you ever go into your next relationship. Really in general, but especially after divorce, especially after infidelity. Because if you do not do the healing, if you do not trust yourself, if you do not create your own happiness and love yourself, you will continue to accept subpar partners. And that's the issue, right? As I said in my number one bestseller, Unfuck Your Mind, it is not that love is blind. It is the lack of love for ourselves that makes us blind. And that's exactly how we end up in these, mediocre relationships and these people who are, really narcissists or just deceivers, because we're looking for some sort of fulfillment from an external source when you need to be providing that for yourself, right? Because when you give all of those things to yourself, when you create your own happiness, when you love yourself, when you approve of yourself, absolutely no one can take that away from you. And then your standards that you then have are on a whole nother level, because you're not going to settle. And that is my point. That is how you move into your next relationship. Because if you don't do the work, the inner healing, it's it's going to happen again with a crappy relationship. I'm not saying necessarily it's going to happen again with infidelity. Definitely it's going to happen again with just being in a subpar relationship that, could be toxic, and nobody wants that. So when you give yourself all of those things that we look to from external sources, right? The love, the happiness, the approval, the acceptance, you then have built your self-confidence, and you then trust yourself. See, I didn't realize I never really trusted myself, because who really thinks that they don't trust themselves? But once I went through all that and I did the inner work and healing that I'm talking about right here, I realized, while I trust myself because I know after what I've been through and the healing that I've done and the love and the happiness and approval and acceptance that I provide my own damn self, I will never ever settle for less than, and I will never put up with bullshit. The first time someone shows me their true colors that I did not see somehow, it'll just one time, that's it. And it'll be adios. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. So my friends, the key to moving on, the key to having another serious relationship and it actually working is for you to do the inner work, for you to trust yourself, for you to love yourself, for you to create your own happiness, your own confidence. And when you do that, the relationships that you then have are on such a deeper level than before. You realize that maybe a lot of your relationships and friendships were, surface level. And it's not like that anymore. In fact, you'll be amazed at how many people you don't really need in your life. And when I say that, I'm meaning you only want quality. You don't care about the quantity, you want quality. And the people who the people who haven't done that work, especially narcissists, right? They always have this very large amount of friends or people in their circle, but no, none of the relationships are really that close. And that's what I'm talking about, because it's just to feed the ego. It's to make up for something. But when you give all those things to yourself, you don't need it from external sources. Your energy becomes sacred. You don't want to just give it away, and you don't settle for anything less. Everyone has to earn a seat at your table. And you definitely are not going to give your heart away again to just anyone. And that's what I'm saying. It begins with trusting yourself, and you trust yourself by doing the healing and providing yourself love and acceptance and approval. So now let's talk about, okay, here you are. You you know, you meet this person and you're not expecting it, like I was with my now husband. I've since remarried. And it just like completely blindsides you, because you're like, oh shit, am I ready for this? Well, I didn't think I was ready at all. I was honestly scared shitless. But that brings me to my next point. This is very important. It's really important that you're just straight up honest with this new partner. And that is the best thing you can do. And I think oftentimes, especially in the beginning of a new relationship that's, you can tell is close, you don't really want to just lay all this, what you consider baggage, on them, right? Because things are good. And you're like, oh, I've done the healing. I've gotten over it. And like, all is good. Honey, it ain't all good, because healing healing is a multifaceted process. It takes time. And honestly, I don't believe healing ever ends. You just reach different levels of it because there's always the scar. That's what I mean when I say healing never really ends. You heal, but there's still a scar and it still can get scratched at and it still hurts. It's just that your view on it's differently. Your mindset is different on it because your mindset did the healing, but there's still a big scar there. So when you get into your next relationship, the best piece of advice I have is to be honest with them. And so I'll tell you my own story. As I was saying, my now husband, who was a client after my divorce, and we became close friends and, ended up falling in love. But as soon as I started to feel feelings, it honestly took my breath away because I was really not expecting it. Didn't even know if I was going to be able to do it again. But it was so much different because of the love I had for myself, because of the quality of the person that I was with and in a relationship with. And I realized I never really felt that kind of love before because it was on such a deeper level. And the best thing you can ever do with someone you love is just be honest with them. So I was honest with him. I told him, look, I have 3 kids. I got an ex. It's a lot. And, you know, I don't know what else needs to be healed. I don't know all my triggers, but I know I don't have a whole lot of leeway for mistakes. And he understood that. But I made really, really sure he did. And I said, I just need you to be patient with me because, there's some certain areas that are very sensitive to me. And I've never, this is my first relationship after a divorce. I don't know how to navigate that with kids that, I'm not ready for them to have to be introduced yet. It was a lot. And I would have been a fool to just brush it off. But I also needed to make sure if any of these things are going to, push him away, let's find out right now. Because I don't want to just assume, well, it'll be okay, it'll work out. Nope. You don't make assumptions in relationships. You ask questions, you're direct, you tell people how you feel, you tell people what these are my boundaries. Those things are super important. You have to set boundaries really early in a relationship. And honestly, if it pushes them away, then they weren't meant for you anyways. So remember that. If you being honest pushes your partner away, that is more of a good thing than a bad thing. Yes, it might hurt. Yes, it might be a disappointment. But would you have rather found out after you had your families intertwined in your lives and possibly had kids? No. So being honest and being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be vulnerable is very, very important. I was very vulnerable, more vulnerable than I thought I would be. And it was because of the healing. It was also because of, like I said, the quality of this relationship. I realized that I had thought I'd been in love before, but I never really had because this kind of love it was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. And I felt it back from him and I could be myself 100%. And there's nothing about me he's ever wanted to change or tell me to tone down or don't do this or don't say that. And I fully, fully trust him, but I fully trust myself now. And that is the thing is that when your trust has been broken on such a deep level, like with an infidelity, you have to do the healing. You have to know it was not you. There was nothing you could have done better or different. And you have to learn how to trust yourself again. Because until you trust yourself again, you can't trust anyone else. Until you fully love yourself, you can't fully love anyone else. Until you fully accept yourself, you cannot fully accept anyone else. And until you create your own happiness, you can never have true happiness and freedom. My friends, these are the keys to a healthy, successful relationship. This is how you heal. This is how you give yourself the opportunity to have a real, loving, deep, connected relationship that each of us deserve. The key is to first have it all with yourself. You have to forgive. Forgiveness is not for the person. Forgiveness is for yourself. I forgave my ex about the infidelity right after it happened because I couldn't hold on to that toxicity. The forgiveness was so I could get my power and control back. Please remember that. I hope this message finds you all really well. I don't really record very long solo cast because I know for me, sometimes all I ever have to listen to a podcast episode is, 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes 30, but it depends. And I believe and I feel like I have said everything I needed to say on this subject at this time. But I would love to hear your comments. Please share if you think this will help anyone else who has struggled with infidelity or divorce or just a really bad breakup. And please like and subscribe. And I thank you so very much. Have a great day, great week, and I'll see you soon.